So a new legal debate is raging over whether President Trump could be disqualified for running for office under the Constitution's 14th Amendment over his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Now, two members of the Federalist Society, a conservative legal group, arguing, quote, the bottom line is that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection or rebellion and gave aid or comfort to others engaging in such conduct, which references the 14th Amendment there. They point to Section 3 of it. And on Sunday, 2024 Republican presidential candidate Asa Hutchinson said that he's not even sure Mr. Trump is qualified to be president again, also referencing this debate.
All right, guys, so I told you that this day was coming, that this was going to happen, as there was speculation that Trump could receive his third indictment from the DOJ in relation to his actions on January 6th, okay? I was telling you guys that what they're really gunning for and what you're going to see is that you're going to have people come out and to start making an argument that Trump is disqualified from being president of the United States because of the 14th Amendment, a clause in the 14th Amendment that essentially disqualifies people from being in office if they participated in an insurrection. Now, what you have here is this being pushed in the liberal media. They're using the idea that, well, this idea is being pushed by conservative scholars as legitimacy for what clearly is another attempt to try to stop Trump from becoming president. Because look, the indictments haven't worked, right? Everything they've thrown at the guy has not worked, okay? If anything, he's become stronger. So now they're coming out with this, okay? They're trying to pressure local and state election officials to remove Trump from the ballot, saying that, well, he's constitutionally disqualified from being able to hold the Oval Office. So therefore, we want you guys, the local and state election officials, to remove Trump from the ballot, okay, to make sure that he cannot win. And I want to go ahead and play a interview here that CNN did with a couple of the conservative, never Trumper scholars who are making this argument, who they're using as pawns to try to push some legitimacy behind this. I want to play an interview of them explaining their rationale, and then I want to play another clip of a CNN legal analyst actually debunking these constitutional scholars and their arguments that Trump is disqualified. So without further ado, roll the clip.
So can you explain why you believe he's disqualified from office?
Certainly, Casey. When that language was written, it was clear that the insurrectionists were not going to be criminally prosecuted because the president at the time that became part of the Constitution was Andrew Johnson, no longer Abraham Lincoln. His Justice Department was not about to prosecute those people who tried to overthrow the Constitution of the United States. And so they put this provision in. It's a permanent provision, even though it was triggered by the Civil War and its aftermath. They put this provision in for the very specific purpose of making sure that if any Secretary of State or any other official were to try to put someone on the ballot, then that official would have to decide by whatever process was appropriate whether the candidate is eligible to be president or is disqualified. This was not a punishment. They knew that some of these people were not going to be punished, and in fact, a lot of them got amnesties. But the question was, could they again take part in running the country? And the people who wrote the 14th Amendment were not fools. They realized that if those people who try to overturn the country, who try to get rid of our peaceful transitions of power, are again put in power, that would be the end of the nation, the end of democracy. And as the scholars Bodie and Paulson ably demonstrate, and as Judge Ludig and I have long believed, and it's an honor to be on with him, by the way, as we have long believed, this language means exactly what it says, and it should be enforced in every state of the union.
Yeah, so you're saying that, you heard that, okay? That's the argument that they're making. Now, There's a CNN legal analyst who's actually going to debunk this argument. He's the same guy that I played a couple days ago, in which he also made an argument that Trump's not going to jail before he's elected, and if he's elected, then he's not going to jail. Which again is probably pissing off a lot of his colleagues at the network, and this is certainly gonna piss him off because he's again coming out here and he's debunking this theory that the Constitution prohibits Trump from ever being president again. These people are again crying, talking about Trump's disqualified because all of the actions from the Biden administration, the DOJ, the deep state, aren't working in regards to swaying the public's opinion of Trump. So now, again, they've thrown this out here as a last-ditch effort to try to disqualify the guy from being able to be president. Take a look.
I was struck by this piece written by retired conservative judge J. Michael Elie, Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe. So they make the case in a piece in The Atlantic that the Constitution prohibits Trump from ever being president again. So they write in here, all officials who ever swore to support the Constitution and who thereafter either engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution or gave aid and comfort to the enemies of that Constitution are automatically disqualified from holding future office and must therefore be barred from election to any office. You know, you and I were talking, full disclosure, we were talking earlier today, and you say this argument is flawed. Why do you think there's a flaw in there?
Well, Erica, this is based on the 14th Amendment. These are two brilliant scholars. They're correct to note that the 14th Amendment rightly bars someone who's participated in insurrection or rebellion from holding future office. The problem is the 14th Amendment tells us nothing about how that decision gets made, nor does any case law or statute that's been passed. Does Congress decide? Is it Senate? Is it House? Is it majority? Is it 2/3? Is it a court? Is it a jury? Is it a judge? Etc. And what they propose in the article is they say, well, it's self-executing, which that does not do it for me. What they're proposing essentially is, well, every state, local, county official who handles ballots will just decide on their own whether he's disqualified or not. That would lead to wild inconsistency and chaos, and I don't think that's a viable, practical solution here.
Yeah, so again, that guy's name is Elie Honig, which is a hell of a last name, okay? But, you know, hey, this guy is one or two more of these takes away from losing his job, right? Because I'm pretty sure his colleagues at that network are not happy to hear this man come out here and say, yeah, Trump's not going to jail, right? And to say that, yeah, Trump is not disqualified to run for office. I'm pretty sure they're not happy to hear that, right? They're not happy to hear it at all. So again, this man better start coming out here and saying some stuff against Trump, right? Giving them some copium, some hopium, right? When it comes to Trump, if he wants to keep his job, okay? Wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired, right? If you don't see this guy on that network too much longer. But anyways, again, basically the idea here, what was happening is that you have liberal activists and never Trump activists. They're trying to pressure local and state election officials to essentially erase Trump from the ballot, to take Trump off the ballot. Okay, like this guy, Mr. Honig, said, there is no specific enforcement mechanism in the Constitution in regards to how are you supposed to enforce this, right? How are you supposed to disqualify somebody from office? How are you supposed to keep them from being on the ballot? Who is supposed to make that decision? Now, the Never Trumper constitutional scholars, right, they propose that local and state election officials, county officials that run these elections, well, they should just be able to decide to keep Trump's name off the ballot, which, like Mr. Honig said, that would be an absolute disaster. I mean, just look at this map, okay? Look at this map. If Democrats decide that, hey, they're going to keep Trump off of the ballot, okay, because, again, you know, wouldn't be surprised here if Democrats try to justify doing this come the general election, especially if the polls are tight, okay? If Trump is outright winning in general election polls versus Biden, oh, for sure. 100% for sure, they will be screaming, they will be telling local Democrat election officials, hey, keep Trump's name off the ballot, right? I mean, this is what they're doing. This is what they're proposing. They're telling them to do this, right? Yeah. If that happens, then conservative counties that are ran by conservative election officials should do the exact same thing to Biden, right? Take Biden's name off the ballot, right? You got to fight fire with fire because it's not like Trump has to actually be convicted of anything in order for them to do this. They're already making an argument that saying Trump's disqualified. So again, according to their own legal theory, Trump doesn't have to be convicted, right? They just have to say so. Constitutional scholars just have to say so, okay? They just have to write about it in the Atlantic, and therefore Trump is disqualified. So if that's the bar, if Democrats that run their local and state elections decide to say, you know what, we're just going to take Trump's name off the ballot, then conservative states should do it as well too. They should take Biden's name off the ballot, right? If that's the game they want to play. But again, I'm telling you guys, don't be surprised. If Trump starts to just outright win against Joe Biden consistently in the polls, don't be surprised if that's what Democrats start pushing for. If they say Trump's disqualified constitutionally, we need to empower and embolden and encourage Democratic local election officials to just remove his name from the ballot because he's not qualified. Right? This is what they're doing. They are activists that are quite literally pressuring state and local election officials in their states to do that because they believe that Trump is disqualified because of the 14th Amendment. Right? Again, who is to decide that? Who's supposed to enforce that? Again, yeah, well, not outlined in the Constitution, but again, liberals, right? They're going to take it among themselves to try to do it. And this is what you're going to see. I warned you guys. I told you, I was like, look, they're going to use this prosecution here from Jack Smith as an excuse to continue to push this idea, right? And now that the indictments are not working, right, if anything, they're helping Trump. Again, this is going to pick up a whole lot of steam. Don't be surprised if you see a lot more of this being pushed. And again, if Trump is outright winning in the polls, right, if he starts to kind of move away from Joe Biden, take a commanding lead, you most certainly are probably going to see this idea become more mainstream. I'm just saying. I'm saying you heard it here first. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.